nothing to fear. Yeah. Because we certainly cannot close their mouths. They've already talked. So really, we can't. So why would I monitor them?
Are they trying to say that we are now having the Trump-Russian movement?
Trump-Russia.
Let me tell you, if you ask me, I am gonna treat those accusations with the contempt that they deserve. That it is just a whim. It is the fear of the unknown. It is. When you talk about drones on Twitter, it elicits feeling. It is true. If you remember the Gazette notice, when that Gazette notice banning drones came out, it was a very big thing on Twitter.
But there are a lot of drones here, Muchendu. You cannot tell me you've not seen drones. I even have one. At times I can even run in your compound. But what are you saying?
I'm just saying, you saying that they are specifically sent to monitor you. What is that?
That's so unique.
What is that so unique that you have done to aren't government putting our drones on you? Come on, let's be serious, man.
Next week nitatumia ndani drone yangu yende ndeya natumia Muchendu. Anyway, quickly moving forward niangalie comments hapa alafu we switch off to mambo ya shule na mabibi. Naona Michael Kio, naona Mamusha Ian Kithere, John Burgas, I'm watching from the show from Upper Hill Nairobi. Every all sama is my girl Ayela scene. Kimutai ya sama Kenya should have balanced fine playing field for everyone. You guys are the ones indeed in the offices, not the crooked old cronies like Atwali. Lots of intelligence. Felix Nyagara sama Billy Mishungu, welcome to Kenya. Max Kibaya sama, is this guy dreaming? Are you living in Denmark? Erone sama priorities are wrong as a country. Felix Nyagara sama, you're talking BBI when people are dying. Mwema Steve anasema Nyikal should be thoroughly whipped for shedding crocodile tears. Kibari Kipta sama, I wish Honorable Nyikal cried and talked of BBI and disowned it if he really serious about corona situation and our doctors. Eunice Kidoma and some BBI is not for all Kenyans. It is for Raila and his followers. May they contribute for their business because they are the beneficiaries. Nani naona hapa pia Rono yasema coronavirus is very serious. It's a killer virus. Let's all take great care, Kenyans. Jason yasema viva Kavena P.MUCHENDU. This mask yasema whoever devolved health is a madman. From hiring of workers to payments. It's a real road to the core. Imagine finishing college in 2014 and in employment, someone who finished in graduating December is employed. Which merit was used there? David Kamasama, for me, I stopped watching the corona updates long time ago because of Mutai Kagwe. Eunice Kidome anasema let us keep aside this nonsense of BBI and look for ways of eradicating coronavirus in our country. Masculinely, I couldn't watch his sanitization program on JKL. On that side, anasema any day I see Mutai Kagwe addressing media, I switch to Twitter or something else. I hate him just talking without reasoning. Kabon Sana anasema watching kabisa Kipkwachi anasema Mutai Kagwe is just a power broker. Bolinje anasema Kabogo is a consistent leader. Kiambu lost a gem. Bieden Kansama, thank you Kavana P.MUCHENDU kuangalia HCW split and that is watu wa hospitali. Jackson Juga sama Governor P.MUCHENDU, thanks for the nail on the head. Zabagudos Muchendu. Titus Chirudian sama, our country is in deep shit. Let's call a spade a spade. Let us Chirudian sama, if I cry, how much am I going to get paid? Answer kulia Titus. Sasa Kenyan leaders just style of crocodile tears with the common mwananchi faced even worse situations. Atona kwetu kuzuri atawapi. This government is rotten from the top. The leader should suffer more and more so that they can change the lives of the commoners. Mike Sama, president and those who listens to him, he has also admitted his failure as an MP. Like now the president has not listened to me. David Kamsa, we talked the truth and Nyikal as a point that is Max Kimeli. Alright, we're going down here. The crying doctor, not the minister once. What they did do then? By the way, it'd be interesting to know that. Jai Kevo anasema greetings to my former NYC chair Billy Mijungu, watching from Dallas, Texas. Na watu wa ngambo amazo kusalimia. Domi anasema niko ndani kabisa from Eldoret. Geoffrey Odiama, good morning my brother. I'm watching from Kisumu City. Watu wa Kisumu City, asante sana. Kipweza anasema what's so hard for you to call Murkomen and Kibwana to confirm the issue of drones. They're the ones who raised the issue. Who are we to judge them? I'll call Murkomen. Probably can come in tomorrow.
We are looking for Kibwana also.
And also Kibwana. We can call KK in the afternoon. Pauline Cherno, money stopped coming from donors, so the available money is for Mutai and company to hold conferences and tea. Hiyo ni mambo ya masaibu ya dunia hii. Arnold anasema Mutahi Kagwe is more or less of someone protecting his job. Unfortunately, I stopped believing all what man Kagwe says about COVID-19. Secondly, we need to wake up to us Kenyans. By the way, let's talk about Nyikal briefly as we move forward. What was his achievement, especially as a minister?
Yeah, you wanted to give us a history.
It is good to say he was not a minister.
Director.
Yes, he was director of medical services 2003 to 2008. And then he became the what do you call it? The PS, Permanent Secretary, Urban Development or something. I can't actually recall. Yes, Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Services. And I think he was, before he became the medical director of medical services, he was the vice chairman of medical practitioners and dentist board. Before then, he was the lecturer at the University of Nairobi, and he is a pediatrician by profession. So his training is in pediatric, mambo ya watoto. And I think if you remember, one of the things I know, I may not know what he did for the common mwananchi or for the doctors by excellency, but he ensured that the medical practitioners and dentist board became a voice for the medic. He did, I think, 2 or 3 gazette notices that empowered the medical and practitioners board to become self-resilient and to be able to discipline its members without necessarily the government disciplining them. So I think to that extent, he did well as the director of medical services. I cannot really blame him on the policy because he was neither the permanent secretary nor the minister, where the policy level is
his colleague Ongeri.
Yes, exactly. So I think Sam Ongeri. Yes, Professor Sam Ongeri. So as a director of medical services, you are directly implementing policies, not per se making them. So I cannot really say that he stood in a position where you could judge him on the medical practices then in this country, because he did not make policies. But I think for me, this is the thing. As a member of parliament and as a medical practitioner, it begs the question of what are the legislative agendas you have brought in parliament to be able to actualize what you believe ought to be done in that department. So maybe we should check on his record as a member of parliament, what is it that he has done for the medics and the medical world. I think that is where now we can gauge him as a legislator. I mean, what have you done with the power the people of your constituents have given you to come to the National Assembly? I think we will be looking at that history and see what is his contribution as far as matters health are concerned in Parliament. Yes.
What?
I have no doubt as to the capability of Dr. James Nyikal. I have no doubt as to the extent of his technical know-how in driving health agenda. I have no doubt. What I have doubt with is the tears. He cannot be teary in front of the watching public, blaming medical issues or whatever, yet he has the role of oversight, allocating money, monitoring, and doing all those stuff. That is what but overall as a person, he's a very good person, and he knows his work. I have no doubt.
At least he's emotional, I think. We can say he's human. Now that he can cry, we can only, at least we can say at least he's human. Yes. All right, Lucia.
I think Muchendu is right when he says that we need to gauge him as a legislator, because his track record before he became a legislator looks fine. And this also begs the question, what happens to our people when they get into parliament? You know, like someone is a performer and then they go into parliament and then they're full of shit.
In fact, the more I look at politics, the more I get so disinterested.
I know, right? Yeah. It's disheartening. Dr. Nyikal has every right to feel whatever he wants to feel about whatever he wants to feel. So does all the parliamentarians. But then after crying, what next? You know, you've complained. You've said, oh, ABCD has happened. Oh, this and this is what is going on. Oh, government is this and this and that. So what next?
Nini inafuata?
Tuendelee kulia ama, you know, I really want to know what next. Yeah.
Alright. Titus amesema tulie. So Titus afadhali utakuja kutuongoza kwa kwaya ya kulia tuone kama naweza saidia hizi mambo. As before we move to the newspapers, yesterday Mutahi Kagwe has disagreed on the opening dates of the school that are announced by the Ministry of Education, the calendar, and he's saying that the dates might change. At one point, can we be sure that serikali sasa imesema na imesema ukweli, especially when you're dealing with children? I'll start with you, Mijungu.
Yeah, I think it's been a bit patchy for George Magoha in terms of driving the policy for schools, especially during Corona period. Give it to him. When he was, let's talk about what happened to him recently, where they took the HR functions. I mean, it didn't make sense to me, regardless of whether you've taken the HR functions from him and given to your PS, but he remains a boss in the ministry.
I think it was a PR. I think it was a PR thing.
And then he has to direct the PS to sort, because when he goes to inspect a station and there's a problem in that station, he can take the name of the officer, reprimand the officer, and tell the PS to act because he's the boss. So really, I think it is rearranging chairs in your sitting room. Really didn't make sense to me. I think he's had occasions where he has gaffed a lot in terms of driving the issues of education, where he says this but does the other and says another thing, and I think it's the nature of the disease, and this disease has been metamorphosizing in many ways, and the way the trends have been. So you can say something today, then something comes up tomorrow, new decisions are made, and you have to change your mind. I think he had to be a little more careful. What you shouldn't forget is one: government. You have these people called cartels that never leave. They will always set you up. The advice you are given, the minister does not just wake up and say anything. Believe you me, if you wrote a letter to a minister today, it's likely that letter would be marked down. Then it would procedurally come up back to the minister for decision making. So they don't just make decisions on their whims. They make decisions on the advice of the technical officers, on the situations on the ground, all factors considered around them. So they don't just make decisions. So if you see a minister or government person talking, believe you me, they've gone through a lot of processes. And in this kind of processes, because of the nature of bureaucracy, people tend to put their own things in there, which is sad, because people who do not have interest of the country at heart or have their own interests to put and all that. So they will always put things in there that would mess you in the end. I want to tell you something that we probably would have forgot by now. Remember Joe Lenku? Joe Lenku would come to the media, somebody who was handling a place as sensitive as interior, and would be doing gaffes after gaffes after every single day. This is a person who was surrounded by seasoned interior people, seasoned generals. Exactly. Do you really think he would be making those statements? Somebody who has no security training or security background. He's basically a spokesperson for the ministry. Then it turns out he's making all these mistakes. So people do set you down there. When it comes up at the top, you are left alone because then you have to pick the pieces.
So which date should we set as parents to say shule tafunguliwa ama tungoja tu freestyling?
For me, I have a 14-year-old son who is in school, who is sitting for exams. He must be in school, let him do his exams. This thing will come for us whether we like it, whether we have vaccines or not. It will come to us. The better we socialize ourselves that we have a disease that we have to deal with the way we deal with HIV and all, the better we live with it. If you come to an issue of vaccination, for example, by the way, I would not even recommend it for my own children, that vaccination. Because the issues, side effects, we don't know whether there's sterilization. I wouldn't be the person who want to make decisions that then affect my children later on. So it would probably start with medical practitioners. Then you go to the most vulnerable in the society. Then you come to those people who have at least had families who
not medical. I think we should start with the politicians as guinea pigs. We should start from Ginaikalu are crying.
If it
by the
works,
way, most of them are over 50.
Just
so
to be sure.
if it works, we are safe.
Have you realized that older people even fear to die more than young people? If you see Nikal crying, he's not crying because of Kenyans. He's crying because
That is savage, man.
When you see Nyikal crying, he's not crying because someone on medical care. For him, it's like, so this thing can actually kill me. I think the older you get, the more you fear to die.
No,
Muchendu.
I think, as you have said, we don't know the side effect of the coronavirus vaccine, but nonetheless, what is it that we have? How worse can this get? If you are killed by the virus, you better be killed trying the vaccine, because there is no way of getting this thing better. But I think for me is there is a disconnect in the communiques done by the government, because when you have the Mutahi Kagwe on one side saying that NHIF is not able to cover 1, 2, 3. Then you have the Minister for Education coming to tell us that how he is planning for NHIF to cover all the students, and this will be the opening date. Then you have Mutahi Kagwe saying that he is not going to open school at that particular date. You have a problem. What is exactly is the position of government? And I think for me, the problem we are having is the reward. It is because these people holding senior positions, it is purely a reward scheme. And I'll tell you why I think Mutahi Kagwe was just being rewarded by Uhuru Kenyatta. How many remember John Meshoke endorsing Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta in Muranga, if you remember? True. And you can look for that video. Kwa maoni yangu. Now, who is Mutahi Kagwe to John Meshoke?
He's an in-law.
He's a son-in-law. So Uhuru was simply rewarding the endorsement of Meshoke and rewarding Mutahi Kagwe with a position of a minister.
Kwa maoni yangu.
And then Mutahi Kagwe just came at that place when pandemic was shaping up. So therefore he became the talk of the town. It is not that he achieved by informing us and telling us what is happening. But informing us, that is the work of the media. You are the minister. You're supposed to come up with policies. You are supposed to come up with plans and strategies on how to counter the disease. So therefore, I submit to you, Mutahi Kagwe was not given this job on the basis of merit. He was given this job on the basis of being rewarded, because you see, if the father is not there, you reward the children. The other day, I took the Honorable George Nyanja, the former Limuru member of parliament. One time he was saved by a former councillor in our place. You remember during Moi's time, it was always a cat and mouse between the forces of President Moi and Kinaorengo and Nani Nyanja. So we took him to say thank you to the family of the councillor. So therefore, Uhuru was simply telling the Meshoke family, thank you very much for having your father endorse me at Muranga and make it. It is the same day he famously said in Kikuyu, heg sio kwa mama ya mtu, tutaenda huko na tutarudi. It was the same day. It was the same day. So this is the problem we have, Bitok. How many of our ministers are hired on merit?
Talking about Kanjora, by the way, what happened to that guy Clark when alikuwa Clark ndioko nini jana? Mazishi ya pop.
Nani, this Ore Magerel? Ore Magero. I was at the burial of the Pop Meto through my aunt. We have known him for some time. He tried to tell people about us following the son of Jomo. For those who don't know, the son of Jomo is simply saying Uhuru Kenyatta, the president of the Republic of Kenya. And guys were so furious for him claiming that we must follow. We don't have a problem with Uhuru Kenyatta. It is true. Let us not kid ourselves. It is true we dethroned him as Kikuyus. We dethroned him and we made him a tribal leader in Kikuyu. That I am as guilty as charged. But that doesn't mean that we follow him blindly. No, we must tell him, mzai, barabara unatupeleka haiendi vizuri, na saa hii BBI haiendi vizuri. BBI unatupeleka hiyo ndio inafanya. Because let me tell you, why do I have a problem personally with BBI. I don't have I don't have a problem with BBI. I have a problem with the genesis of that BBI. That handshake disoriented both government, disoriented the opposition. Uhuru forgot the 4-point agenda that he was to cover. That is why his minister can come and say NHIF cannot be able to cover people. So therefore, I have a problem with what the handshake did. There is what you call the long-term and the short-term goals. The short-term goals was that we have this cosmetic peace going on. Because you can see politicians once in a while, despite the handshake, they are throwing jabs at each other. That tells you what we have is a cosmetic, so painted peace that the country is experiencing. But we lost on the long term.
Alright, tusonge kwa magazeti. Gazeti tanda na gazeti ya Standard, Standard newspaper. Pale juu inasema, gazeti Standard inasema pale juu inasema Huduma cards are finally here, says Minister. Biometrics Matiang'i and Busheru roll out cards in Machakos and Kiambu. As Kenyans to expect text directing them where to pick the document. Kama au kuchukua Huduma card, najua LUCIA ya kuchukua Huduma, utajua malenge pia ni mboga. Pale naona 100,000 teachers to stay home as coronavirus bites. Education and leadership crisis is looming in schools as about 100,000 teachers who fall in high-risk age bracket may be forced to work from home following a directive from Teacher Service Commission. All right. Uhuru meets Ruto as BBI signature drive called off. Consensus. President hosts his deputy at State House. BBI Secretariat sends night alert cancelling planned launch of signature collection, citing delays in publishing of referendum bill. All right, interesting times. President Uhuru Kenyatta, head of the state held marathon meetings at State House yesterday in last-minute push to build a broad alliance to secure his visions. ODM leader Raila Odinga, the co-architect of the handshake report, has rallied his party to collect 4 million signatures to endorse the referendum push. Deputy President William Ruto is the first of the opposition to the handshake report and wants more views included before document is taken to a no contest referendum. Pale juu pia kuna governor Mutai Kaiga, Governor, my fight with COVID-19 testimony. I had to travel to Mombasa for a governor's meeting on Mashujadi. When I arrived, I noticed I had a sore throat, which I thought was an ordinary flu. The course Governor Mutai Kaiga. Why IBC cannot give you free and fair elections? Chepkati. Kenya's electoral agency has said it cannot guarantee free polls due to persistent political interference, inadequate funding, and high staff turnover. Interesting times to be alive. Naona gazeti ya The People Daily inasema Ruto's new gospel on BBI report, intrigues and battles in Obama's White House journey. Inasema the first shot in US battle for US presidency was fired during the 2004 Democratic Party. The story America on page 4. Ruto's new gospel on BBI report. I love this country. Napenda hii country. I love this country. Enough never be part of any war, not when there is a real possibility for a win-win consensus beckoning. And as far as them, yes or no contest that will lead to lose outcome is unnecessary and unwarranted. That's the new gospel of Deputy President William Ruto. Change of heart. DP holds talks with Uhuru State House as reports emerge is not keen to lead a no campaign at proposed referendum as today's event to launch collection of signatures postponed. That is on page 5. Magoa pushes for medical cover for students. NHIF says it is ready to provide insurance with some extra funding. 72,686 confirmed cases, 804,000 tested, 49,000 recovered, 1,313 deaths. 3 in court after child theft exposed. Juzi kulikuwa na mambo ya kwamba watoto wanaibiwa Kenya, hii biashara ya watoto. End of ID card, hiyo ni Daily Nation. Lakini wacha tuanze na mambo ya Standard. Uhuru meet William Ruto. Nianza nayo kwa Mshendu kwa sababu unakuwa kwa kamera mapema.
You know, unajua Kenya imekuwa Sudan, in southern Sudan. It is always a very big headline when Salva Kiir meets Riek Machar, the vice president. And they serve in the same government. And it is sad that the president of the Republic of Kenya meeting the deputy president is news. I mean, where else does this happen apart from Kenya and now Sudan? I mean, I think I have also seen a report by the co-chairs of the BBI nonsense. They have said that what was not printed in time.
Mushendo, if looks could kill Billy, would have killed you.
No, I have absolutely no apology saying it is pure nonsense. They have said that they have postponed the launch today because what was not printed in time. Come on, we went to school. Stop lying to us like small children. We know probably the meetings, the series of meetings the president held in State House may have resorted to the cancellation of the printing of that bill today. There is no way government fails to meet time. The government printer is always on time. And by the way, the reason why I am saying the BBI is nonsense is that because it was not even printed by the government printer. It was printed by the daughter of Raila Odinga. She was the one who was contracted to print the BBI copies. And I'm saying that...
Oh, wow.
Forget what is written here. We know facts as they are.
I didn't even
there is no. They also know it is nonsense. They cannot associate it with the government printer. So therefore, Uhuru meeting Ruto, nonetheless, it should not be news. But in this case, we find it to be news because it seems like for a moment William Ruto has posted reggae. And we can no longer say nobody can stop reggae. We don't know how long the post is gonna take. You know, if you post your TV, if you're watching a movie and you pause your TV for a very long time, the TV shuts down. So we don't know whether the post is gonna stay so long that the BBI is gonna shut down. But nonetheless, I think as William Ruto has said, we seriously need a negotiated document. We don't need to go to, the rate at which the proponents of BBI are hoping Ruto will become the villain in this BBI, it is on another level. They pray day and night so that William Ruto wakes up and opposes BBI because the political momentum they are looking for may not be there if Ruto does not oppose this particular document. And you see, he has said he is not keen in leading any campaign against the document. So therefore, I feel for them, those that are proponents of BBI, that I believe the deputy president ultimately will not be vocal in opposing this document, and therefore they failed to get the enemy they so wanted to be on the other side, and that momentum goes. And I think the postponement of today's activity may have a reason to do with that meeting between the president and the deputy president. Otherwise, hii lege lazima tuisimamishe.
Mijungu,
Yes.
William and Uhuru meet as BBI signatures collection is suspended.
Yes.
What do you make?
I don't even know where to start with, Mushendo. I've already demystified your 14 billion on IEBC with the BBI. I've demystified it, and you have not made a comment.
But that is, you have demystified it in Denmark, not in this republic. Not in this republic. Not in this republic. Hell, we even pay Chebukati to be the presidential returning officer, and we still pay him a salary. Please wake up from that nice dream. It can never happen in this country.
All right,
the president has made the deputy president, and it is news.
And BBI collection of signatures is suspended. That is the news, actually.
That's the big news.
Yes.
Now, I would put it this way. The reason the deputy is not keen on leading a referendum is not because there's no consensus. The reason he's keen is because of the many sweeteners that are in BBI. That is
for politicians, especially.
For yes. No. You don't force me in that corner.
No, I'm not forcing you.
The
I'm just
sweeteners that are in the BBI document that is for Central Kenya. It would be very, very hard for Central Kenya not to vote. There could be voter apathy in Central Kenya when voting for the referendum, but I tell you, they will pass it. The reason they will pass it because of what they are getting from it. They will never, if you know Central Kenya, no, just wait. if you know Central Kenya, they will not leave what is given to them. They'll first take it and deal with other issues later. The DP, if he leads a no referendum and Central Kenya votes for the document, what does that mean? How does he convince Central Kenya that is at the center of his 22 campaigns that I opposed what you wanted, but now make me president? That is his problem. His problem is not signatures or consensus. It's the hold that he has on Central Kenya.
Really?
And Muchendu here let me tell you, it's not only the DP or people around the DP who are opposed to BBI. Martha Karua is opposed to BBI. Kivuta Kibwana is opposed to BBI. And many more other small and middle-level big voices. Even Musalia Mudavadi somehow is always in the middle. Even Kalonzo, opposed but not opposed, but consensus but not consensus. So they are there. Let me tell you, when you do the referendum and people vote, the other fear of William Ruto is not like Martha Karua. If you ask Martha Karua today, Raila Odinga, William Ruto, who do you vote for? Straight. He will tell you Raila Odinga. Mudavadi, Ruto, who do you vote for? He will tell you straight William Ruto. That is the passion. But she opposes it. Now, in the results of the referendum, the vote that comes out at the end of that referendum, is it William Ruto vote? Do you count Martha Karua inside and all those other voices? For him, it will be so difficult to know who is for me in the no. You understand? So, ukiona ni vitu mingi sana. So, he's not willing to risk. But if he was the only one man standing against it and would lead it, and he knows that everything that goes in that basket, he can own it. Believe you me, he would go for a no campaign. But it's because there are so many other dissenting voices, you will not be able to clearly apportion for him his vote in the opposition of the document.
Billy.
So, yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I might not be old enough to know this.
Yeah.
Gerald ataniingililia hapa tu sahi.
Yeah.
When Gerald, I'm old enough. Mi naweza kuwa mama ya mtu. When we were voting for the new constitution,
yes.
Was Ruto for the new constitution or against the Ruto and Uhuru? Were they for the constitution or against the constitution?
I will explain. In 2005, Ruto opposed the constitution. That's another thing, by the way. It's good you've raised it. In 2010, he opposed the constitution. My friend, in 2017, he attempts to oppose the constitution. What would go out? Why should we elect you on a constitution that you have always opposed? Ruto is a mjanja, sungura mjanja, very, very clever. He is not going to put himself in a position where he gives you political fodder.
Exactly.
Believe you, yes.
Exactly. The same way he may not confuse himself when taking unnecessary roles like his boss. I am not endorsing Ruto here, but I'm just saying, as a politician, as you have
He's very clever.
If at all your knowledge was true, which I believe it's not, then it would mean, yes, it would mean that William Ruto is a very calculative politician.
Very.
He does not do the minus mathematics.
Actually, let me tell you what has been going on. I've actually branded,
yes.
There are people around him, I've branded that Ruto looks like he has a subcommittee of Tanga, and this subcommittee is a no mistakes committee within it. So these people, their problem is looking at where is he going to make a mistake, and they would pause. Ruto has a no mistakes committee.
That then presents a very calculative politician who can do a very good leadership analysis. If you have a committee that is able to calculate where you are there is a possibility of making a mistake, and they tell you not to make it, then it is a proof that he is a very good politician.
Yes, I'm not giving LUCIA.
It is a proof that he is a politician who can learn government. Now,
so is a person who says he does not
as for the sweeteners you are talking about for Central Kenya,
yes.
There can never be any sweetener for Central Kenya in BBI. Why? Central Kenya, 66% of Central Kenya, they make their living in agriculture. What is there in BBI for the agriculture?
You want me to tell you?
Let me tell you. Okuyu and Rand, they are like blood sisters or blood brothers.
Yes.
If you don't address the issues of Rand in BBI, which sweeteners are you talking about? The only sweetener you are talking about, it is apparently you're giving Central Kenya 17 nominated positions because those are not elected.
No, they're elected.
No, they are not. They are not. Let me tell you, this document you people are propagating.
You can give it to Mishungu to open where it is.
Yes, this document
you can help us, because the document is here.
Is it not talking about a party producing a party list of both a male and a female?
It is.
It is talking about the please underline the word party list.
Yes.
When you talk about party list, where does Wajiko come in parties? Parties are private properties in this country. So when you are telling us, as long as that MP is not elected on the ballot by Wajiko, there is no way you
that MP, his vote or her vote counts.
No, Wajiko does not care how many votes the president will have in parliament to drive his agenda. Wajiko cares what is it that MP is bringing home. And you and I know be talk. Money is not allocated to individuals. In the budget making process, you do not allocate money to individuals. You allocate money either to counties or to constituencies or to ministries program. So when you are telling me that Loiro, for instance, Loiro has over 500,000 people, Loiro constituency around, it is supposed to receive 2 members of parliament if this BBI was something you were supposed to go with. What happens when you tell me that 2 members of parliament nominated by a party, because it is just nomination that has been decorated in this document. It is still nomination because it is not Wajiko who is electing those 2 people. Then here is Bitok, who is a bona fide elected member of parliament in Roiro. Muchendu and Rucia are nominated. And here you are telling me that Muchendu and Rucia will be given resources to take to the same Roiro constituencies. Why do you people take us to be fools? If Ruto constituency has enough people to be subdivided into 3 constituencies, do it. But you know why you cannot do it? Because the constitutional timelines bars you from making new constituencies.
No problem.
But still, because you want to have more people who are going to dance to the tune of the government of the day in parliament, you are trying to come up with a shortcut to be able to do that. So, I want you to look at this document and tell me authoritatively what are those sweeteners for the people of the mountain that you now claim that it is the dilemma where the deputy president is finding himself is.
All right, give him the document. He'll show you.
The sweeteners for the
Muchendu, you said you are not endorsing the deputy president. Thank you for the endorsement.
Yes.
Now let me tell you. You see,
actually,
I'm going to explain something. Please,
let me show you.
I am simply paraphrasing what you have submitted in this.
All right, let me show you speak.
Muchendu, I've even forgotten. Anyway, it's a lie. Now, I want us to audit.
Mishungu, you have the document with you.
No, leave it.
Okay.
Yeah, I've already read it.
No, I want you to show me the.
No, don't worry.
He will show you after the show.
No, it is not going to be of help.
All right, Mishungu.
No. I can tell you because I've read it. I want us to take examples. Let us go to the judiciary. If you have a problem at the magistrate court, where do you seek redress? High Court. If you have a problem there, where do you seek redress? Appeal Court. If you have a problem there, where do you seek redress? Supreme Court. Let us go to the legislature. If you have a local problem that you need to legislate on, where do you go? County Assembly. If it is a national problem, where do you go? National Assembly. If it is a county problem or mixed or wherever, you go to the Senate. How many levels are those? 3. How many levels in the judiciary? 4. Let us go to the executive. We are running at the whims of one person. Today, you can talk about there is a deputy president. But what does a deputy president do? It's just elected with the president and is a principal assistant to the president. Here is a case in point where you've been given the opportunity to have at least 5 angles within the executive, where if a policy document comes or people are in, you have people who have real power to be able to make decisions in a varied manner, not at the whims of only one person. If you ask me today, I will vote for BBI as it is today. But if you ask me that in the future, we will still need to amend it to make sure that the Prime Minister, and probably it's good to test it as it is today, and in 10 years we can amend it. It's good to have a Prime Minister who can only be sacked by Parliament on recommendation by the President. I would have proposed that. It is not there, but I accept it as it is. It's good to have a Prime Minister who would propose cabinet, because if he's coordinating government affairs, please allow the gentleman to propose his team as well. It will be a negotiated team with the president. No, we can't take Lucia ni hivi. No, we can't take so and so. Maybe look around for another person. You will have a cabinet that can be proposed by the deputy president, by the prime minister, for the president to appoint, so that there's a collegiate way in which decisions can be made and policy can be driven. If you ask me, I would want a prime minister who is substantive head of government. We are not there, but I still support the document as it is. So don't tell me
so that we can amend again.
We should. Okay. All the time when we feel we should, we should amend it. No, wait.
Let me show.
Wait.